As we move into this next slide, guys, we see properties of matrix multiplication. And what you notice is that we have the distributive property that works for matrix multiplication, whether it's on the left or on the right. We have the associative property of multiplication right here. So A times this quantity B times C is equal to C times the quantity A, B. And then you see some fun stuff right down here with scalar. So what's happening here, once again, with the associative property for any scalar R, this is equal to RA times B, which is also equal to A times RB. And down here for E, we're going to see that in a couple of slides. Identity for matrix multiplication. We're going to see that and we're going to work with that. So I put a little star on that. We have some more problems on our worksheet coming up. But there's no commutative property for this, which is why most times AB is not equal to BA. And we saw that before because A was a 2 by 3 and B was also a 2 by 3 in problem number 1, right? So that didn't work out at all. And in problem number 2, right, A was 2 by 3, B was a 3 by 2, so A times B resulted in a 2 by 2 matrix, but B times A resulted, right, 3 by 2 times 2 by 3, that resulted in a 3 by 3 matrix. So 3 by 3 and a 2 by 2, those are not the same size. So no commutative property. Now, can we use this in the real world? Yes, we can. We can use this to solve real world problems. Caveat emptor though, right? Let the buyer beware, because right here, we need to determine which model generated the most income for the first 3 months. So what we're going to find here is we can put each of these into our calculator, right? Because we have a 1, 2, 3 rows and 1, 2, 3 column matrix. So that is a 3 by 3. Over here we have a 1, 2, 3 rows by 1, 2, 3 columns. So what's going to happen here, and I hope that you see this right now, guys, whether we do A times B or whether we do B times A, our answer is going to yield a 3 by 3 matrix. So how in the world are we going to know which one we need, since AB is not necessarily equal to BA, since there's no commutative property? We have to think about what's going to be taken out, right? Because here we have months and models, right? So we have months, models. Here we have models, months. So if we do AB, what we're going to be left with, right? We're going to be left with months and months. Don't know if that's going to give us what we want. We'll see. We'll take a look at that because we want to know which model generated the most income for the first 3 months. Whereas if we do B times A, right, we're going to have models and models. So we're seeing months and months, models and models. It's not really clearing anything up for us. So let's put these things into the calculator. All right, so let's go here to second matrix. And we want to, so I went ahead and I put these in already for us. So when you get to edit, you want to hit enter. So A should be a 3 by 3. So if it's not, you want to hit 3, enter, 3, enter. Go ahead and put your information in. So the 152, 55, 50, right? So we want to come in. We want to put that information into row 1 and then into row 2 and row 3 is appropriate. Once you get that in, we're going to quit and we're going to go back in. So second X inverse right there to get back into matrix. You're going to come in and you're going to edit matrix B. And you want to put those values in. So you want to come in and you want to put these values in row by row. Okay? So at the end, we have two matrices in calculator. And so we do two things with them. Right? We could try A times, here we go. We could have A times B, which yields these numbers, which are interesting right here. And then we have B times matrix A, which yields these numbers. So what in the world are we actually looking at here for AB times BA? So we have months and models in A. So months are our rows, model 1, model 2, model 3. And we have models and months for rows and columns in B. So what you're going to find when you look at these numbers, let me come back here to the calculator. So what you're going to find is we're talking about here in the first column, we have model 1 for January, February, March, model 2 for January, February, March, model 3 for January, February, and March. So each column starts off with a 5, 7, and 9. Okay, how are we going to differentiate? Well, we have 3,500 here versus 70375, all right, versus 84750. So model 3 is coming out ahead in January. If we look here at the models and number of sales with the price per month for a total dollar amount for that model for that month, 725, 715, 781. Model 3 comes out ahead in February, and Model 3 comes up a little bit short here in March. Model 2 wins that, but the fact that it's up by, 66, by 80,000. So Model 2 outsells Model 3 by $50,000 in March, but that still means a Model 3 comes out $30,000 ahead. So you have to be careful with AB times BA when you look at those numbers, because you get two sets and the two sets are each lovely, but they mean something different, right? So what you have to do is you have to come back up here and think about, if I'm looking at which model generated the most income for the first 3 months, then I've got to figure out which one of those matrices, the AB or the BA, which one of those represents this information. And that's represented by BA, and BA tells us that model 3 is the model that generated the most income for the first 3 months.